Welcome to One Insight. My name is Rich Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can actually be lonely. You can feel like more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything.
I like to mess with people's thinking. So when David got on to record this episode of the podcast, I thought, I'm going to tell him to ask me a question. And it was very powerful because he asked something very deep and personal to me. He's just had his second child and I have 2 kids. And raising kids is complex and it's challenging and it's rewarding and it's fun and it's overwhelming all at the same time. He asked me a question and I share from the heart. Enjoy. Hello, David.
Hey, Rich.
I want to mess with your thinking a little bit today. So what I'd like you to do is to ask me a question. What's one question you have that if we got an answer to this, the answer to this question would change everything?
I know that you're a dad. I'm as well a dad. And I became recently a dad of 2. And for me, the question is, how did you find the balance between being a dad and becoming and even be able to show up in the world of leadership coaching like you are, and how to really impact both worlds, so your private world and the business world?
Great question. Okay, here's what I've got for you. First of all, before I had my first son, I started reading loads of books about parenting. I was really nervous. I never had kids before. And then I came across an article that said there's a direct correlation between how good you are as a parent and how many books that you read as a parent. It didn't matter whether you read them or not. And that gave me the sense of relief. Okay, great. I'm someone who wants to learn about being a good parent. Things will be okay. So that gave me a sense of relief. The second thing is, when the kids came along, I realized that time was my most precious asset. And I was very, very careful about what I put my time towards. I used to work long hours as a coach because I loved what I did. So I'd work late, get up early. When the kids came, I put some real clear boundaries on. I don't work after this time at night. I don't work on a weekend. I really put some clear boundaries on. And I have a friend who's actually very well known in the world of men's work. And his daughter was very ill for many years. And he had a lot of judgments for himself because he said, he wanted to be more successful, making more of a difference in the world of men's work. And he had to be by his daughter's bedside, literally for many, many years. And what we said to him in the men's group is that you need to understand that you're doing the most important men's work you can be doing right now because you're being with your daughter. And I think I'm reminded of that in this moment, turning the light back on myself, the lens back on myself, that it feels good to be out in the world. It feels good to make a difference to people's lives. And I need to do that. I'm not a good dad if I'm around my kids all the time. I can't do that. I'm not so good unless I'm energized out in the world. But knowing that when I'm with my kids, I'm fully with them. And when I'm out in the world, I'm fully out in the world and not mixing the two. And the last piece I'll add in is, for me, I like my kids to see what I'm up to share things. I used to bring them to live events. They would sit on a stage next to me. I want them to see what I'm up to. I sometimes will coach with the door open so that they could close it a bit now because they're older, but they can hear what I'm up to. The other day, Kaleo, my oldest, I was rushing to do something. He said, "Dad, slow down to speed up." And I laughed because I realized, wow, these kids, they learn more than you realize. So those are the thoughts that I have in this moment.
Thanks so much for this answer, because you just said it. You know, my little one, the newest one, he was 3 weeks ago, was pretty sick. He was in the hospital, and with 6 weeks on this planet Earth. So reminding me of your words right now, just what you recently said, it gives me, because I'm since 2.5 years in your world, and finding this lane between these both worlds, I think as a parent is pretty challenging sometimes, but I see it really as a possibility. Since I'm in your world, this possibility seeker changed so much for me, and not seeing it as a problem solver, really seeing it as a possibility seeker, to really figuring out, okay, what's possible, even playing with all these challenges. And I'm so thankful that I went through this, because it showed me so much. It really helped me to realize, okay, there I have to look at, even in being in the situation. So like you said it right now, it was, for me, I said, okay, wow. So like me, I love it being with them, but when I don't have the possibility to be out there, there's something like missing. Mm-hmm. There's this blissfully dissatisfaction. I call it like that.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks so much for yeah.
I think that for me, that relates to values. What are your values in life? And I have a value around making a difference. I need to be making a difference. It feeds me. And I also realized I have a very high value on my clients, being there for them. But having kids, I realized, actually, kids are a higher value than clients. Not all the time. Like I told them just now that don't bust in because I'm on a podcast. But a couple of years ago, I got a call from the school that my son needed some help. And I called a client and said, "I'm really sorry. I'm canceling the session. Got to go and pick up my kid." I didn't hesitate. And yet, if you would ask me what my values are until that moment, clients come number one. It's a priority over everything. I'm really there for my clients. Actually, no. I'm there for you unless there's something going on for my kids or my family, and they come number one. And so it's okay to realize that values can shift over time. We have a hierarchy of values and they shift. There are moments when actually the kids aren't number one and making a difference, being there for my community, writing something, recording a podcast comes up. So those can shift in any moment, but knowing your values is really important. And here's how I'll finish. I told the guys in my men's group how nervous I was about having a son in particular. What the hell do I know about being a man? I said to those guys, how am I going to raise a young boy? And they said, "Don't worry about that. He will teach you everything you need to know about how to be a man." And it's been so true. David, thank you. This was a real short and sweet episode. I wanted to see what happens when you ask a question and see how I respond. So thank you, man.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for the time. Thanks for this possibility, and really thanks for the answer.
And congratulations, Mazel Tov, on being a dad again. That's fantastic news.
Thanks so much.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching, it was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.